Bronny James, he's 7 for 28 in 4 preseason games from the field. He's 2 for 13, I believe, from three-point range. He's got 8 assists and 8 turnovers. He's moving into year 2. This guy is not an NBA player.
4 preseason games into his second season, Bronny James has gone 7 for 28 from the field, 2 for 13 from beyond the arc, and has matched his 8 assists with 8 turnovers. Those numbers have fueled critics who argue he still hasn't shown he's an NBA-caliber player. The conversation exploded the moment LeBron James and Bronny shared the court, creating the league's first active father-son pairing. What should have been a historic celebration quickly turned into one of the most heated arguments in basketball. Did Bronny truly earn his place with the Los Angeles Lakers, or has this become the NBA's clearest example of nepotism? Everything reached another level on October 22, 2024, when Bronny made his professional debut against the Minnesota Timberwolves. LeBron described that night as the greatest accomplishment of his career, but fans couldn't agree on what they were watching. Some embraced the history that had just been made, while others wondered if merit still carries the same weight in today's NBA. Supporters remind everyone that Bronny battled back from cardiac arrest in July 2023, praise his defensive effort, and believe he's determined to build an identity beyond being LeBron's son. On the other side, critics keep pointing to his modest production at USC, his selection with the 55th overall pick, and a rookie contract they believe was unusually favorable for someone drafted that late. Their argument hasn't changed. They believe Bronny is wearing an NBA jersey because of his family name rather than his basketball resume. With no previous father-son duo like this in league history, the story goes far beyond the box score, raising questions about performance, business decisions, the pressure Bronny is carrying, and how this chapter will ultimately be remembered in NBA history.
LeBron may not have the leverage to get Bryce into the NBA. And because I do think that was his plan. He may not have the leverage to keep Bronny in the NBA. And I know Bronny's got this contract, and if he sticks with the Lakers, maybe it's inevitable. But if LeBron ever has to really force his way out, that may be the end of Bronny's career.
If you're trying to understand why the nepotism debate refuses to go away, Bronny James's numbers are where most people begin. Looking strictly at his production, it's difficult to argue that his resume matched what fans usually expect from an NBA-ready prospect. His freshman season at USC was interrupted by the cardiac arrest he suffered during practice, a life-threatening event that scouts agree has to be considered when evaluating his development. Still, once he returned to the court, the stat line raised plenty of questions. Over 25 games, Bronny averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. Now compare that with other guards from the 2024 draft class like Jared McCain, who averaged 14.3 points, 5 rebounds, and shot better than 41% from 3. That's not a small difference. It stands out immediately. There was some optimism during Bronny's 2024-25 season with the South Bay Lakers, where he averaged 21.9 points per game while shooting a respectable 38.0% beyond the arc. For a while, it looked like he might be developing into a legitimate professional player. Then, the 2025-26 G League season told a different story, as his three-point percentage dropped to 21.2%, bringing back concerns about whether he can consistently score at the professional level. Scouting reports continue to describe him as an athletic but undersized combo guard, whose biggest strengths are defensive intensity and strong basketball IQ. Most evaluators see his long-term ceiling as a possible 3-and-D specialist, rather than a primary scorer. As I explained in my video on why Bronny James can't and won't succeed, his weaknesses become even clearer when you look deeper. Across his first 2 NBA seasons, his effective field goal percentage has remained below 39%, a sign of how difficult scoring has been against NBA defenses. He often looks hesitant instead of aggressive, passing up open opportunities, and that reluctance even led to a viral moment when Lakers head coach J.J. Redick yelled at Bronny during a game against the Bucks, telling him to shoot the freaking ball.
His desire to play with his son may end up blowing up in his face. This has turned into a tragic soap opera.
Here's the thing though. People act like nepotism is something unique to Bronny James, when the NBA has seen family connections influence opportunities for decades.
As insiders like Adrian Wojnarowski have pointed out, those relationships exist across ownership groups, front offices, and coaching staffs throughout the league. Just look at Austin Rivers. While Doc Rivers was coaching the Los Angeles Clippers and had control over basketball operations, he brought Austin to the team through a trade and later gave him a significant contract. The backlash was immediate, with plenty of critics insisting Austin wasn't good enough and saying his career would have been over if not for his father's decision. But over time, Austin changed that narrative. He developed from an inefficient volume scorer into a dependable defensive role player who carved out a legitimate NBA career. That's the important distinction. Family ties might create an opportunity, but they don't guarantee a long stay in the league. Surviving in the NBA still requires talent, improvement, and the ability to produce. I've watched plenty of Austin Rivers pickup games, and his skill level is obvious. One of his go-to moves, a hard between-the-legs dribble into a step-back three, is something I've even worked into my own game and featured in one of my videos. Based on what we've seen, I don't think there's much debate that Austin Rivers has shown a much higher level of ability than Bronny James.
From his NBA salary, Bronny also earns from endorsement deals. He signed with Nike Basketball in 2022, becoming one of the first high school athletes to secure such a deal. This partnership is particularly notable given his father's long-standing relationship with Nike. Additionally, Bronny has an NIL deal with Beats by Dre, a company his father was the first athlete ambassador for back in 2008.
Another major reason the nepotism conversation keeps gaining traction is how much financial success Bronny James achieved before he ever played a professional game. The arrival of NIL in college sports allowed him to build a brand worth millions, far beyond what many people felt his on-court resume alone would support. By May 2024, his estimated NIL valuation had climbed to $5.9 million. His endorsement lineup included some of the biggest names in business. Nike partnered with him, continuing the same brand relationship that helped define LeBron's career through his lifetime deal. Beats by Dre also signed Bronny, making him the company's first high school athlete 14 years after LeBron became its original ambassador. He also appeared in a 2023 campaign for Google's Circle to Search feature. On top of that, Fanatics Collectibles released trading cards featuring both Bronny and LeBron, while PSD Underwear centered its partnership around authentic use of the brand. From a business perspective, it's easy to understand why the Lakers made the move. Drafting Bronny all but ensured LeBron would remain in Los Angeles, while creating a surge in ticket demand, merchandise sales, and national media attention. The commercial impact showed up almost immediately. Bronny's number 9 jersey finished as the best-selling rookie jersey of the season. South Bay Lakers G League games saw ticket prices soar, and resale prices for his Summer League debut climbed to nearly $1,000.
How much does Bronny James make? Have you ever wondered how much the son of basketball legend LeBron James earns? Let's dive into the details of Bronny James's salary and other earnings. Bronny James, who recently made his debut in the NBA G League with the South Bay Lakers, has a significant contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. His current contract is a 4-year deal worth $7,895.
Being LeBron James' son comes with a level of pressure that very few athletes will ever experience, and Bronny has been unusually open about what that feels like. He's spoken honestly about dealing with relentless scrutiny and even battling imposter syndrome, knowing many people assume his achievements come from privilege instead of hard work. That perception doesn't just follow him online, it can affect the locker room as well. Reports from the Lakers' 2024 Summer League suggested there was frustration among some young players who believed Bronny was receiving special treatment and that parts of the game plan were being adjusted in his favor, while others were trying to fight for NBA opportunities. At the same time, it's impossible to ignore the advantages Bronny has had growing up. He learned directly from one of the greatest players ever, had access to elite trainers, top-level coaching, world-class facilities, and spent years competing against the country's best talent on the AAU circuit. Because money has never been an obstacle, he's been able to focus entirely on improving as a basketball player and playing simply because he loves the game, rather than out of financial necessity. Growing up in the spotlight also prepared him for the non-stop media attention that overwhelms many rookies when they first reach the NBA. But those advantages come with equally significant drawbacks. Bronny is unlikely to ever receive an unbiased evaluation because every mistake is amplified across social media and traditional media, shaping how fans view him regardless of the circumstances. The situation surrounding LeBron has also fueled the belief that politics influence roster decisions, leading many to argue Bronny occupies a spot that should belong to someone without his last name. Some analysts, including Stephen A. Smith, have even suggested that entering the NBA instead of spending several years developing in college may have slowed Bronny's long-term growth because he joined the league before he was truly ready.
Mostly playing devil's advocate here, but if Bronny had got to play for LeBron as coach, maybe he'd have a case against Shedeur.
When you look at Bronny James joining the Los Angeles Lakers through a traditional basketball lens, plenty of the criticism makes sense. But the bigger picture is far more complicated in today's celebrity-driven sports world. Based strictly on the numbers, it's reasonable to question whether he was ready for the NBA, especially since his college production and early professional efficiency have lagged behind many players selected in similar or even later draft positions. The Lakers, however, were evaluating more than just points and shooting percentages. They saw value in Bronny's defensive potential, the business impact of pairing him with LeBron James, and the long-term stability that came with keeping one of the biggest names in sports in Los Angeles. From that perspective, drafting Bronny wasn't only a basketball decision, it was also a franchise decision. This entire situation is unlike anything the NBA has experienced before, combining family legacy with professional competition in a way the league has never seen. His last name may have opened doors that most players never get access to, but staying in the NBA will still come down to the same standards every player faces: production, efficiency, and continued development. The nepotism debate raises valid concerns about fairness and opportunity, yet it also overlooks how much resilience and work are required after that initial opportunity is given. At the same time, LeBron's influence has reinforced the belief among many fans that politics can shape roster decisions, creating the perception that Bronny took a place that should have gone to someone without the James name. Some analysts, including Stephen A. Smith, believe Bronny may have hurt his own development by leaving for the NBA instead of following a longer college path, arguing that he entered the league before he was fully prepared for that level of competition.